Very often when you're having conversations on advanced care planning, people will ask, would you be my substitute decision maker? Would you be my power of attorney? Can I appoint you? The answer may or may not be yes, depending on your relationship with the person. There may be professional reasons why you decide not to. So it would be very unusual, for instance, for a doctor to act as a power of attorney for their client, for their substitute decision making for healthcare. It can put them in a conflict of interest. Very few lawyers act as powers of attorney for their clients, although some do. Again, I think it can put you in a conflict of interest. Social workers, much the same issue. So it does depend on your relationship. If you are an allied health professional and you're asked to do the job of an attorney or substitute decision maker for health and personal care, you can say yes. But my strong recommendation is you only do it if it's through a relationship that you have as friends or as colleagues, something outside of your professional relationship. What are the expectations of an attorney, a substitute decision maker who's been appointed? Well, they must act in good faith. They must act in the way that the person who's appointed them would wish them to act. So that means that they don't act necessarily in the best interests of the person, but rather according to the values, wishes, and beliefs of the person. Okay, well, that's hard to understand. Let me give you a practical example. If I decide that I want to wear a particular form of high-heeled shoes and I have a bad hip, if I have dementia and I am incapable of making the decision around my personal care, around what I'm wearing, but I have always loved wearing high heels, and I have always loved wearing beautiful shoes, and I have had stated preferences throughout my life that say I don't want to wear ugly sandals or orthopedic shoes, then at the first instance, the person who is the substitute decision maker needs to put themselves in, if you will, the shoes of the person they're making the decision for. So wherever it was possible, they should put the preferences of the individual ahead. So if the values, wishes, and beliefs were to wear high-heeled shoes, even though it might present danger, and I've been absolutely clear that I prefer high-heeled shoes to orthopedic shoes no matter what the danger is, then it can put the substitute decision maker in the position of preferring the individual preferences over what's best interest. So in this case, it's best interest. Perhaps I wear ugly sandals or orthopedic shoes, but I have had a lifelong statement where I didn't want to do that. Now, if it gets to a position where it goes above all possibility, then the substitute decision maker may need to prioritize the best interests, but only after all the preferential interests of values, wishes, and beliefs are first. So you shouldn't put the person in a life and death situation. If you're working in financial areas, which is a bit of a different course, but if you're working in financial, you certainly have to still do your due diligence. You can't bankrupt the person if their values, wishes, and beliefs were to buy, 100 lottery tickets a week. Then no, that wouldn't be prudent to do, but you need to take into account and strongly prefer the values, wishes, and beliefs. It can be a difficult job. On a practical basis, substitute decision makers often need to be at the beck and call of people, sometimes quite often, and sometimes at odd hours. So when you're advising somebody about their role as a substitute decision maker, or you yourself are considering it, you also have to think, is this something I can fit in with my life? Unlike being an executor or a trustee for an estate, where the person has passed away, urgency may have gone on. There's not as much of a concern if the person has already died. By contrast, being a substitute decision maker for advanced care planning may require fairly regular sets of decisions. It may require that the person be on call. It will depend on the individual decision.